Hello, good afternoon. Today we're going to discuss crimes against fundamental laws of the state that is under Title 2 of Book 1 of the Revised Penal Code. Now, under Title 2, crimes against the fundamental laws of the state, you can find Article 124 to Article 133. Now, crimes under this title are those which violates the Bill of Rights according to the citizens of the Philippines. It's the Bill of Rights as given or as stated in our Constitution. It is the fundamental law because it is stated in the Constitution. The Constitution is the fundamental law of the land. Thus, the Title 2 covers crimes against the fundamental laws of the state. Mainly focus kaning mga kaso under fundamental laws of the states are crimes committed by public officers or employees or public officers in the exercise of their official function. So, you have to think about the crimes that can be committed by public officers in performance of their official function. So, you might ask, how about if the public officer is not performing or was not performing its official function? Now, the crime committed may be grave coercion, illegal detention, or as the case may be, but it will not be fall under Title 2 of the Revised Penal Code. Now, as I already stated, the public officers who may be liable are only those acting under supposed exercise of their official functions, and it was performed illegally. Because if they are performing their official function legally, then they will not be subject to any crime. Now, if the counterpart of this title is found in Title 9, crimes against personal liberty and security. That's what I mentioned a while ago. If the public official is not performing official function, then he may be liable under Title 9, the crimes against personal liberty and security. It could be, again, grave coercion, illegal detention, as the case may be. Now, private persons may also be liable under this title, provided that the principal offender is a public officer by or through principles of principal by direct participation or induction, as the case may be. Now, if a private person conspires with the public officer or becomes an accessory or accomplice, the private person may be also liable in the same crime. But the private person alone cannot commit the crime under Article 124 to 132 of this title. Simple. We'll go first to Article 124, arbitrary detention. So what is arbitrary detention? As stated in Article 124, arbitrary detention is committed by any public officer or employee without legal grounds detains a person. So let's talk about first public officer. No, we'll talk about the elements under Article 124, arbitrary detention. Arbitrary detention, first, the offender is a public officer or employee. He detains a person. Second, and the detention is without legal grounds. Now, what's the meaning of without legal grounds? Without legal grounds is that he was detaining when there was no crime committed by the detained person, that the detained person is not violently insane, and the detained person has no ailment which requires compulsory confinement in the hospital. Now, you may read this in the module I have given to you, the distinction between arbitrary detention and illegal detention. The arbitrary detention, the principal offender is a public officer, while illegal detention, the principal offender is a private person, etc., etc. Now, arbitrary detention can be committed in several ways. First, detaining a person without legal grounds. Now, you suppose the public officer is supposed to be performing official function, but if he detains a person without legal grounds, that could be illegal detention. Second, kanang naay madakpan. If the person was arrested without warrant, validly arrested, let's assume that the person validly arrested without warrant. What's valid arrest without warrant? Example is in flagrante. You have already come across with that term, in flagrante delicto, caught in the act. Now, if the person arrested is not delivered to the proper judicial authority, that means the person arrested at first legally without warrant, lawfully without warrant, was not delivered to proper judicial authority. That means a case was not filed against him for the crime he's supposed to be, or he supposed to have been committed within the period of 12, 18, or 36 hours. That's for degree, or no, that's for the severity of the supposed penalty as provided by law. That's 12 hours for that's 12 hours for light penalties, 24 hours for 18 hours for correctional penalties, and 36 hours for afflicted penalties. Afflictive penalties covered reclusion perpetua and reclusion temporal. Correctional and prison mayor. Correctional penalties covered prison correctional, arresto mayor, suspension. And light penalties covered arresto minor and public censure. Now, also note that in the crime of arbitrary detention, although the offender is a public officer, not any public officer can commit this crime. Only those public officers whose official function carry with it the authority to make arrest that is applicable to police officers mainly police officers. And detained persons can be guilty of this crime. So if he's not with a function to make arrest, he may be considered as acting outside the scope of his official function. So for example, he's a barangay kagawad. The barangay kagawad has no official function to make arrest. So if barangay kagawad committed illegal detention or arbitrary detention, he may be liable as a private citizen, and the crime committed could be illegal detention or grave coercion, as the case may be. Now, Article 125, the delay in delivery of detained person to proper judicial authority. That's the, we already talked about the person having arrested lawfully without warrant, and the public official does not deliver the arrested person to the proper judicial authority. Now, Article 125 states that the penalties provided for in the next preceding article shall be imposed upon a public officer or employee who shall detain any person for some legal ground and shall fail to deliver such person to the proper judicial authorities within the period of 12, 18, and 36. That's light penalties, corrective penalties, and afflictive penalties. That's the period within which to file a case. The delay, the Article 125, in essence, is a failure of a police officer or arresting officer to deliver a detained person lawfully arrested to the proper judicial authority within the period provided by law. So if namoy madakpan for a crime of punishable by light penalties, and the person arrested was lawfully arrested without warrant, now you should file a case against that person within 12 hours. If the crime committed for which he was arrested was correctional penalties, he should file a case against that person within 18 hours. If the crime committed may be punished by afflictive penalties, then as police officer, you should file the case within 36 hours. Failure to do that will, or you may be liable for under Article 125, delay in delivery in person to the proper judicial authority. So, if you are familiar with persons arrested without warrant, lawfully without warrant, if you are familiar with that, the duty of the police officer is to file a case. File a case within the period provided by law. If they cannot file the case provided for by law, they have the option to release the person and conduct a regular preliminary investigation. Or they may be liable for under Article 125. Now, Article 125 is a form of arbitrary detention. At the beginning, the detention was legal, but since the detention is legal because it's pursuant to lawful arrest, but however, the detention becomes arbitrary when the period thereof exceeds 12, 18, 36 hours, as the case may be, without the case filed in the prosecutor's office. The filing of the case against the person arrested with legal grounds, the case should be filed in the prosecutor's office, and the public officer or the